What advice would you give for that struggling person who's trying to figure it out?
So I would say, believe you deserve more and want more, and fix your credit to get access to funding, because even though we're in a recession, but banks are still lending out money, but to people with good credit, right? And invest in yourself. If you can't afford a mentor, or if you're not sure who you can trust, because I hear they say people scam and stuff like that, go down the person page, you know, book a call with them and see if they trustworthy, really see what they doing.
Hey, wait. I know you want to watch this next video, but listen, if you are an entrepreneur, business coach, business consultant, or a small business owner who has a story and wants to learn how to create multiple streams of income from your story, I need you to text me right now, my book, to 646-687-4152. That is my personal number. I have been an author for over 12 years. I've written 10 books. 4 of them have been bestsellers, and I've sold over 100,000 books. But I've also helped a lot of my clients take their expertise and put it into a story, then create multiple streams of income from that. So I want to help you do the same thing. So text my book to 646-687-4152. All right, let's go back to the video. So welcome to another awesome episode of Inside the Vault with Ash Cash, the greatest money mindset show on the planet. Listen, according to the latest consumer debt data from the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, Americans' total credit card balance is $887 billion in the second quarter of 2022. That's a $46 billion jump from $841 billion in the first quarter. What are we doing with this money? Well, hopefully it's something that will have a return on investment and set your family up for financial freedom. And today's guest is going to tell you how to leverage your credit to build wealth. We have the project multimillionaire in the building. Miss Dana Christian is in the building. I appreciate you. I love this interview for so many different reasons. First and foremost, I got my custom Abundance Community jacket on, specifically with the AC. You know, I got a few patches on here. You know what I mean? Harlem Apparel, the NY. Ever since 1980 to represent. You know what I'm saying? My birthday. But on this side, you know what I'm saying? You know, I got the AC Abundance Community. I got the the NYC in the check. But this patch right here says a lot. It means a lot to me. Because, you know, I grew up in the St. Nicholas housing projects in Harlem. And when I found out that Ms. Dana Christian is also from the projects, grew up in Grant Projects in Harlem, and to know that you recently retired from your government job as a millionaire, that is awesome. So listen, when I tell y'all that this show is going to be for everybody who ever thought that they had to quit their job in order to build financial freedom, build wealth, this is the episode for you. For those who come from the bottom or whatever the case may be, and you think it's not possible, I'm showing you that it's possible. But also for those who think that they have to have all the money to do it, right? Dana is the queen of business funding, and we're going to get into that. Her students have made or have had access to over millions of dollars in business funding. So we're going to talk about that. But before we get into all that, who is Dana Christian in your world?
Okay, so first I want to say I resigned. I didn't retire, right? So I gave it up, right? But Dana Christian is a girl that grew up in Harlem, in the projects, a teenage mom by the age of 17, high school dropout, and learned to leverage credit to build wealth through real estate.
Yeah, I love that, and I love that you cleared that up, right? Because retirement means you did your time, you worked there, you get, but resign is like, listen, I gotta go. Coolio means it's getting too hot. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to Coolio, right? So like it means like, all right, it's time to go, and so I love that distinction. And oddly enough, though, talk a little bit about that, right? Because you were, I saw it on Instagram and I was shocked. I was like, she's still like, she worked for the post office, and because I always knew you as like you were making, you were investing in real estate. You're making your millions. Your students are making, millions and using credit to leverage and build wealth. What made you say, you know what, it's time to go, and why did you hold on to the job that long?
Okay, so I got injured at the post office in 2017. 2018, I went out of work, and I was receiving workman's comp for 2 years. And in 2022, July, I was like, Dana, why are you still holding on to this job? Like, you're not receiving any benefits, and you need to let it go so you can move forward. Because sometimes I realize you hold on to a plan B, you can't really succeed in your plan A.
Yeah.
And it was just that fear of letting go, and even when I was working at the post office, my tax business was making 4 times the money I was making at the post office.
Wow.
But it's just the security, the fake security, I like to call it.
Wow.
So it was time that I really let it go. And it just put me in the mindset of when I first got hired at the post office. And I hate to tell my age, 1996, right? But the first thing I thought about was, they're gonna cut off my food stamps, right? So it's that mindset of being stuck.
Wow.
So I had to really just let that go to spread my wings.
And even as a millionaire,
Still-
you still had that.
Because I was still holding on just in case I needed to go back, knowing that it wouldn't work.
Right.
Right, because I know that I can't go in there and they tell me what to do. Like for this little bit, I don't want to say a little bit of money because it served its purpose.
Yeah.
But compared to what I'm making now in real estate, it didn't make sense. So I needed to let that go.
Yeah, and I love how you've been able to purchase over 26 rental properties using 0% credit cards. Talk about that. That's big.
Yes, so I invest mainly in the Cleveland market. I do have houses here in Atlanta and Baltimore, but in the Cleveland market, the entry point is much cheaper.
Yeah.
Where you can get a duplex for $20,000. I bought an 8-unit for $35,000, a 7-unit $35,000. Of course, it needs rehab, but all using business credit cards, right? So it's just a power, having the knowledge of how to leverage your credit to get the 0% interest business credit cards and to purchase the real estate.
Wow. And so now with a rental portfolio of over $3 million, talk a little bit about how somebody could do the same, right? Like be able to get a credit card, 0%, access the funds to be able to buy an asset. That asset is now providing you cash flow. So even when you got to pay back the credit cards, you can either pay it back in full, or you could use your cash flow that you just gotten from the asset to pay it. Like talk a little bit about how somebody could run that same play.
So when you're using credit cards, it's really like cash, right? Because you're gonna liquidate the credit cards, and the first thing we think about when we're using credit cards is cash advance fee. But never use a cash advance fee. It's a site called Plastique with a Q at the end, and you can use them to pay anyone who normally does not accept credit cards. So once you get your purchase and sales agreement, right? Once you get your purchase and sales agreement, you send it to them, and they take the money off the card and wire it to the title company. If you buying the house from a wholesaler, wire the money to a wholesaler. So really, anyone can do it. It's just about having the knowledge, right? Being able to get the credit cards and buy the house.
My mind just now, right? Because in my head, that was what I was wondering, like that, and I know there's people out there wondering, like, wait, how can I use a credit card to pay, right? Because I'm thinking that too. I'm saying, if in order to liquidate the credit card, I'm gonna have to do a cash advance, the bank is gonna charge a cash advance fee, which is usually a higher interest rate as well. So not only do they charge a fee, but the interest rate is gonna be so high. So is it even worth it? But what you're saying is that there's a website, Plastique.com, where you go to that website, you use the credit card, and they liquidate it for you, and they do the wire transfers to whoever you need to go. So literally, you're turning credit into cash.
Correct. That they do charge a 3% fee, but you 0% interest.
Right.
So I always like to say, I have free houses. Right. Because if I borrow money from the bank, purchase these properties, and then my tenants is paying back the credit cards, these are free houses that will cash flow for the rest of my life, my children's life. So that's building real generational wealth.
Wow.
On somebody else's dime.
Wow. And so how did you get, right? So you have over $1 million in business credit, business funding available to you. So even if right now, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium comes up and you could invest, like they need $1 million, you could use the funding, not even your money.
Yeah.
You could, how were you able to accumulate $1 million in business funding?
Okay, so I do have multiple entities, right? So multiple LLCs, right? So I have a total of 15 entities, right?
Yeah.
But when I first learned the power of business credit cards, right away, I went and got 10 entities, right? Because I'm thinking, all right, if it's a bank like Bank of America that has 4 business credit cards, and if I have 10 entities, right, that's 40 credit cards from Bank of America only. The average credit card is $20,000, right? That's $1 million alone that I could get from Bank of America. What about Chase? What about PNC? What about Truist? Right? So I'm not finished yet,
Right.
right? With getting the credit cards, right? So it's just a matter of, first you have to have good credit, right? People always want a shortcut, right? How can I get business credit cards with bad credit? You cannot, right? So fix your credit, and then you can get access to the funding, right? So it's easy to get, say, $250,000 on one business. So if you have 4 entities, that's $1 million.
And then so walk me through that process of getting the credit card, like setting up a entity and then getting the credit, right? Because I think that a lot of times people think it's as simple as, all right, I'm gonna start an LLC, I'm gonna pay my $100, start the LLC, and then now give me $200,000 or $20,000, whatever. But the truth is, your business has to be set up in a specific way to get access to that funding. So talk to us about that way.
So when you set up an entity, the first thing you want to do is stay away from those high-risk names. Anything real estate, trucking, right? So you want to use names like enterprises, consulting, unlimited management, marketing, right? So whatever name you want to use, and just put that at the end, right? Have a commercial address, right? So you can have a physical office, or you could use a virtual address, or I tell people to do a registered agent because sometimes that's the cheapest, right? Then have a professional email address. Don't end in Yahoo or Gmail, right? So info@yourbusiness.com. A professional telephone number that rings to your phone. Go to Duns & Bradstreet, get a free Duns number. You don't need any of their other services. And then your personal credit have to be in position. So now once you set up your LLC, so you can set up your LLC today, so now they're gonna look at your personal credit, right? So they're looking at least 2-year credit history, right? Utilization under 10%, right? 30%, but 10% is better. No more than 3 inquiries per credit bureau, and no late payments in the last 2 years. So if you have those 2 things in position, you can go to Chase and apply for a business credit card, right? And the good thing about Chase, you can apply for 2 credit cards in the same day and get 1 inquiry. So that's how you maximize the amount of funding you get. First, knowing what credit bureaus the banks pull from, and what credit cards you can apply for multiple products with 1 inquiry.
And then so you have a program that teaches people how to do this, right?
Correct.
Does your program, because I'm sure things change. I'm sure that the banks are constantly changing their criteria and things of that nature. Does your program teach people which banks to go to, what like the rules that they need, or talk to us about that?
Yes, so we definitely teach what banks to apply for, but I'm gonna be honest, it's no secret in getting funding. It's having good credit. If you owe somebody some money, the banks is not gonna lend you money. If you late, they're not gonna lend you any money, right? So we definitely teach that, but a lot of times people want to take the shortcut, right? I was late last week. Can I get funded? No, right? I owe Capital One from 2 years ago. Can I get funded? No, right? Because you got to look at it like this, right? Let's just say your cousin, if they owe your sister money, your brother money. By the time they come to you asking for some money and you ain't paying them, what you gonna say?
Right.
No, the banks is the same way. But the answer to your question, yes, we do teach that, but it's no real big secret, right? You have to have good credit, right? And sometimes, it's just about making a phone call to the bank, right? Because, just being honest, when I learned about the business funding, I was in this program. It was a funding program, and they wanted to charge us 10% to get the funding for us, right?
Yeah.
And our calls was on Thursday night, but Wednesday night we got a call. So it was a bunch of an email saying it was a call. So it was a bunch of us on the call, and they sharing information about, you know, how they do the funding. So afterwards, I was up to 3 o'clock in the morning searching every bank that offer business credit cards.
Yeah.
And then the next week, I started applying, right? So then once I applied, and I was getting approved for some, like my credit was good though. I was getting approved for some of the limits was less, and then some I was getting denied. So I looked at my credit report. I'm like, how can I have done this different? And I'm like, okay, by knowing who pulls from what, and I know once I get to that fourth bank, I either got denied or the amount was less.
Wow, okay.
Right? So, you know, it's just really being strategic, you know, with knowing who pulls from where.
And so let me ask, is it the same, right? So like I know, you know, your personal credit is broken down into 5 categories, right? You have your payment history, you have your usage ratio, you have the length of credit history, you have your credit mix, and you have any new credit that you have, right? That new credit is people pulling from your credit, and you want to make sure you don't have a lot of hard inquiries. If from a business perspective, when you're applying for these credit cards, is there the same type of system where every time you apply with your business, there, you know, there's an inquiry on your business profile, and then also if you have to have good credit, which sounds like you have to like personally guarantee it, you know, is that hard inquiry also going to be on your credit report?
So most banks don't look at the business profile. So they just looking at the personal, because the business profile just show your ability to pay back debt. Right? Like when people build those net 30s, which you don't have to get a credit card from Bank of America, right? That's when just showing your ability to pay back debt. So the inquiry will not show on your business because Bank of America don't report to your business credit profile.
And so now, that inquiry being on your personal, you know, does that, you know, like now if you're going to different banks and you're getting those different business credit cards, now you're gonna have all these multiple, you know, inquiries. Doesn't that negatively affect your personal credit?
But those inquiries can be removed from the business. Any inquiries that's not attached to an open personal account can be removed.
Wait, hold on. So let me just understand you, because you nonchalantly dropping some gems. Like hold on. I don't know. Like let me just make sure I understand correctly. So you're saying to me that if I go to a bank and I ask that bank to give me a business credit card, that bank is going to say, okay, great, you have a business, but I want to check your personal credit.
Correct.
They're going to pull my personal credit and say, oh yeah, Ash got a 750, so we're gonna give him this business credit card. But because it's under my business name, this credit card now is gonna show under my business profile, so it'll never show up on my personal profile because it's a business credit card. And so now when I go to my personal credit and that inquiry is there, I can have it removed because there's no personal account attached to it. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's the cheat code.
Yeah. Because if they didn't remove it, and once you go to apply for more credit cards and they see those inquiries, too many inquiries, you're going to get denied.
Exactly.
You can have good credit and have too many inquiries, and they will deny you for business credit cards.
Wow. And so what's the process of getting inquiries removed off of your profile?
So calling the credit bureaus, right, and saying somebody applied for something in my name and it wasn't me.
And then how long does that usually take for it to come up?
Experian, a couple of hours. TransUnion, Equifax, 72 hours.
Word. Oh, Lord. Yo, look, pause this right now. Go check your credit. And I love that. And so you've been able to, you know, run this play, right? Been able to get funding, and then once you are getting this funding, you're now using it to buy real estate. How did you get into the real estate game, and why, why fixing and flipping?
Okay.
Or not even fixing and flipping, right? Because you're buying and holding.
Mainly buy and hold,
Okay.
right? So I started investing in real estate actually 2006, right? Because I hated the post office here. I started in New York, transferred down here. I used to get anxiety, right? So I knew real estate, watching it on TV, those fix and flip shows. Yeah. So we flipped our first house 2006. Yeah. Didn't know what we was doing, but good thing, we came out, made like $17,000, but not the $200,000 they was talking about on TV, right? Then we went into buy and holding. Right after like 4 properties, we ran out of money because I was buying it the conventional way, 20% down, and really didn't know how to analyze the deal, right? But was buying properties, ran out of money. So my plan was to continue working and save enough money to buy 1 house a year. Fast forward to 2017 when I got injured, I had these same 5 houses. Right? And I was like, by now the internet is out, start learning really about real estate, and came across somebody that was actually talking about buying houses with credit cards. But they didn't tell you how to liquidate the credit cards, right? So I, research and found that part out. So that's how we kind of like got started in it. And when I got injured, I knew that I didn't want to go back. Right? So that's when I started investing. So was looking in Atlanta because I live in Atlanta, but the prices was crazy, right? And then I was getting in my feelings, right? Because I'm like, these people that's selling the houses in 2011, 12, they bought these houses for maybe $10,000, right? And now you're trying to sell it to me for $100,000, right? So I'm getting so mad at myself because I had the money, but didn't. So then I started looking into the Baltimore market. So we bought a property in Baltimore. $70,000 from an auction. The house was worth like $134 at the time. A tenant paying $1,200. Still have this house till today, right? And then I started looking into the Cleveland market because I'm like, oh wait, they got duplexes for $5,000, $10,000, even though it need rehab. And then went into the Cleveland market and just networked, with people and stuff, and grew my rental portfolio in Cleveland.
Wow, that's so powerful.
Oh wait, let me say sorry. And then fixing. Only reason I do fix and flips is to pay off those credit cards, right? Because I want to own all my properties free and clear, right? So that's the reason I do fix and flips, to pay off the credit cards.
And so just for clarity, for those who don't know, right? When we say fix and flip, that means you're buying a property that may need some work.
Yes.
And then rehabilitation, right? So you buy the property that needs some work, you buy it at a lower amount.
Correct.
You put the money into it in order to rehabilitate it, to make it look desirable.
Yes.
Flipping it means now you put it on the market for a higher price.
Correct.
And then you keep the difference. So So give me an example of a fix and flip.
Okay, so actually I'm doing a fix and flip now in Cleveland, Ohio. I purchased the property for $70,000, right? I use business credit cards. The rehab is $53,000, and we're gonna sell it for $200,000. Okay. So I use all business credit cards. So the profit between the $123,000 between the $200,000, besides little fee to pay the realtor, all that is my profit, right? So I'm using 0% interest credit cards. So it's not a hard money loan when you have all those fees and stuff like that.
All right, so no, wait, because I'm a math guy, so I'm just trying to. I just want to make this clear for everybody, right? So you have right now you have a property that you bought for $70,000, right?
Correct.
So you buy this property for $70,000. It's going to cost $53,000 for you to to fix it up, right? And with little fees, so let's just say 60 grand. So now that 70,000 plus the 60 grand is 130,000 that you didn't take from your pocket though. This is all money that you use from a 0% credit card.
Correct.
Now $130,000, you buy this property, and then once it's fixed, you're going to sell the property for $200,000. So once you sell that property for $200,000, that money you're going to take the 130, pay the 130 back, and now you made $70,000 cash money that's all yours, that you don't got to split, that is yours in your bank account, real cash money, millionaire in your account, off of a credit card.
Correct. Wow. Yeah. This is how the banks get rich off of us.
Wow.
Our money in there, we got to learn to get rich off of these banks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so that's fix and flip. Buy and hold. What is buying and holding, and what's the benefit of that?
So buying and holding is when the process of becoming a landlord, right? So you purchase the property, you put a tenant in it, and the tenant pays you rent. Out the rent money, you pay back whatever loan or debt you have, and then you keep the rest, right? So it's a lot of benefits to buying whole, right? Especially when you think about taxes, right? Depreciation on your taxes. You know, you can write off every single thing. And then appreciation, right? Because the houses appreciate, right? When I think about a house that I have here in Atlanta that I bought in 2007 from an auction, right? It's not the house we went for, right? But I'm like, I'm leaving with something, right? Because we used to drive around for dollars. That's when you drive around and look for vacant houses. So when I said we, me and my husband, so we knew the street. It was our street, right? So they had a list of houses. So we bidded on it, our street. So after the auction, we all excited. They saying this house is worth 300 and change. So we driving down our street, driving, because they was doing rehab on one part of our street. We crossed over the railroad where they wasn't doing work yet, Pittsburgh. We get to the block. It's 4 houses on the block. I'm like, what did we just buy?
Wow.
But the house was rehab, right? We put a for rent sign in the ground. Somebody moved in and they was in that house for 15 years. Just recently we asked them to move because now houses on the block is selling for $600,000.
Wow.
Right? So now I have that equity between the $50,000. So now I'm rehabbing that one too. So that rehab is about 60, right? So 110. But if I wanted to sell the house, I can sell a house. Well, mine's a little smaller, but I can sell it for about $450,000.
Right.
But that's equity. That's how you build your wealth. So when I talk about my rental portfolio, if you minus what you owe and the equity between that and what the house is worth, that's how you get those millions.
Wow. How does it feel like being a millionaire growing up the way you grew up, right? Like you grew up in a crack era, so I'm talking about like I'm an 80s baby, but you know, I mean, you're probably a little older than me, respectfully.
Just a little.
Right? A little, right? But I'm like the tail end of the crack era, you know. So I'm like, you know, I grew up during the crack era, '88. It was bad, but then in the '90s, that's when mass incarceration started and stuff like that. But like you know that era, right? And to be in that, and then now a millionaire. Talk a little bit about that feeling.
So it's kind of unreal. And a lot of times I don't talk about it, right? Because I'm kind of shameful of being successful.
Wow.
Right? Because of where I came from. And most of my friends is still in the project. When I go back to New York, we still in the project. So I really don't talk about it.
They don't know now.
No. So, you know, it's kind of shameful. At the same time, I'm still kind of in disbelief. Right? Because I dropped out of high school, you know, in 9th grade. And I didn't know anyone that was a millionaire, right? And I always thought to be successful, you had to be an athlete or a drug dealer because that's what I saw. So I didn't know anything about owning businesses or owning, you know, properties or anything like that. So, like I'm still kind of like in disbelief. Like when people talk to me, you know, you would never even know because I'm not flashy. I'm always quiet.
You just walk around with a stylist though. Behind the scenes, but so to me it's like just regular life because you know I don't see me how other people see me. Do you think that do you believe that you deserve millions or like I definitely believe I deserve it because I work hard you know from early on. I always worked hard and you know, I remember, you know, by the age of 17, like I said, I had 2 children, and I was receiving welfare. And I remember the day when... You said by 17 you had 2 children?
I had 2 children, one at 16 and one at 17.
Word,
so so I had 2 children. And their father was on drugs, you know, in that crack era, in the 88, you know, 1988. And I remember needing 2 boxes of Pampers and only had enough money for 1 box of Pampers. And first I cried, and honestly, I went in the bathroom and I was about to slip my wrist. I still have like the little mark here, and I got scared when I went like this. And I came out because I heard the babies crying. So I came out and was like, Dana, like, what you gonna do? So I went to the store, bought 1 box of Pampers. I bought a medium. So it was too big on one and too small on the other. And I'm like, what can I do? So it was a Kentucky Fried Chicken across the street. I went there and started working in my sister's name so I wouldn't lose my food stamps.
That was heavy though. Give me a second. That was heavy, and I remember KFC right.
Yeah, and the on Broadway. Yeah.
Wow. That was, I don't even know where to go. That was heavy. Hold on. Man, I wasn't ready for that. And then, so, and the reason why I asked that though, really, as a therapeutic for me as well, right? Because there does become this time where there's this survivor's remorse.
Yes.
And it's in a weird kind of way. I feel like God has been putting people who have a similar background to me, who's amassed millions of dollars and who's doing well in life, but who came from, meager, not even meager, like low, nothing. Because like I interviewed, someone recently that also, they became millionaires, a couple from the projects, you know what I'm saying? So I think that, I'm starting to meet, these people to show that this is normal.
Yeah.
Right? That this is normal, that regardless of what your background is, regardless where you come from, if you have faith in God, if you put whatever the goal that you want to accomplish, as long as you put that out on Front Street, meaning that there was a belief system that, I want to build wealth, right? As long as you do that, it really doesn't matter what your background is. It really doesn't matter where you come from, right? Teenage mom, 2 kids by 17.
Yeah.
Almost committed suicide. But now is a multimillionaire, helping others become millionaires as well. Talk a little bit about the students and the people that you've helped, along your journey.
Yeah. So one of the reasons I wanted to help people was when I got injured at the post office, and I was out for 5 months before I got any type of compensation, right? And I knew people that were still working injured, right? And I knew that people didn't understand the power of investing in real estate and having another source of income, right? So that's what started my journey on helping other people in the mentorship, right? So just helping people to fix their credit, because, growing up, we wasn't taught about credit. And 90% of the people have bad credit. 100%. So just teaching people. And
that's 90% of everybody, not even just black people, white people, Asian, everybody.
Everybody. Yeah. So just wanting to teach people how to fix their credit and leverage their credit and invest in real estate, and really just giving them the steps and teaching them how to invest outside of their current market, right? So I have students that have bought houses in Baltimore, bought houses in Cleveland, bought houses in Alabama, have started credit repair businesses, started funding businesses, and got access to funding. And when they get access to the funding, they can invest in whatever business they want to. But people have started trucking businesses also.
Wow. And so I love that, because from a place of you figuring it out and you building wealth, and then now, you decided, all right, I'm going to create this mentorship. I'm going to help other people. Other people are having this massive success, which is also a boomerang, because what you give is what you get. So now you're giving assistance, you're giving help, you're giving jewels. I mean, even in this episode right now, you just taught somebody who's listening, right? You just taught them how to make 100,000, $1 million if they really was paying attention, taking note, for free. Just here's this game, which is why the money comes back, and you're you're able to build wealth. When you think about real estate, is real estate the best wealth building tool in your opinion?
I believe so. Yeah. Right, because of course you got to do a little work up front as far as like locating the property, figure out how you're going to fund it, right? But to receive that cash flow, who cannot use an extra $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $10,000 a month, right? And then, it helps on your taxes, and it builds wealth, right? Because when you go to a bank and they ask you to write down your assets and your net worth, it's through real estate.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
So when they see what your net worth is, they will lend you more money.
Yeah. Wow, that's powerful. And so, talk a little bit about your mentorship, because we do have a special, special program or special offer for our insiders who are watching. Talk a little bit about your mentorship program.
So my mentorship is a digital course. On the course, you will learn how to start a credit repair business, how to fix your own credit, how to build business credit solely from the EI number, how to get access to personal and business funding. I give you the exact sequence on how to get $300,000 in personal funding and $1.2 million in business funding.
Wow.
And then how to invest in real estate, from wholesaling, fix and flip, long-term rental, which is the process of becoming a landlord, and short-term rental also, and also how to start a rental car business, right? Because I call it the ladder to passive income, because there's steps to get there, right? So that's why it's the ladder, and it starts with credit. If your credit is messed up, it ain't too much you can do, right? So we have to fix our credit. But on that journey to real estate, because if you get one house, it's not gonna make you rich, right? So I want you to start another business so that you can have some income coming in while you building that wealth of real estate.
Yeah. No, I love that, because when I think about, again, like you said, the ladder, right? Like a lot of people only focus on one stream of income, but you have to have these multiple streams, even if it's multiple houses, whether it's the different ways. Why is mentorship important, though, in your opinion? Because
I know how I have changed my life, right? And I want to learn from somebody else's mistakes, right? And then when you have questions, you need somebody to go to. And sometimes people say Google, but sometimes you don't know the question to Google, right? So, mentorship is important, because I know how it just changed my life, right? And I was able to build my rental portfolio, how I was able to get access to funding, and just having someone there to talk to when I needed help.
And so, within your mentorship program, is it just the course and that's it? They do it themselves and figure it out?
No, it's the course, and then we have weekly calls. So every Tuesday we jump on a call for Q&A, and I also have a mentorship counselor, which if you need someone to talk to, that's in place.
No, I love that. Look, InsidePassiveIncome.com is the website where you can get access to Dana's program. Check it out. Special offer for our insiders. Make sure you learn from somebody who is actually have done it. Like she recently resigned, right? So because I want people to understand, right, that this is somebody who is a multi-millionaire, who is regular, everyday person like you and I, and she was able to do this with her job. And so whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you have a 9-to-5, following the play is really going to help you create that financial freedom, for yourself. So take me back now, right? So all that you know right now, right? Multi-millionaire, investor, you have students, you have mentees, you're helping people, become wealthy. Take me back to 17-year-old Dana. Right? 2 kids, ready to just call it quits. What advice would today's Dana give 17-year-old Dana?
That one day your children will be proud of you. And one day your mother will be proud of you, because my mother was really disappointed when I was pregnant. So just stay the course. God gave you life for a reason, gave you those 2 girls for a reason, right? At the time, well, I know why I had them, but but now I know, those are my business partners, right? So, just keep on believing in God, and everything's going to work out.
Wow. When you say they're your business partners, like you guys have businesses together, you've helped them run the play as well.
Yes. So my oldest daughter, that's my assistant. And Shaylin, she's my credit repair specialist on my team, so she runs that business. Wow.
And so not only were you able to, like you said, your mother's now proud of you. So you're not just building generational wealth from a standpoint of I've built this wealth here, you take it. But now your kids are actually working with you in the business. They're learning the business. They're able to take this knowledge and build wealth for themselves and for their family. Wow, that's a beautiful thing. And so what would you say is the hardest part or the most difficult part of being a real estate investor or entrepreneur, for that matter?
The hardest part, I would say, really finding balance. Right? Balance for myself to really take care of my own health. Right? Starting last week, I started getting up 6 o'clock in the morning, walking. just so that I can be healthy and find the time to spend with my husband also.
Yeah.
So, just being able to really manage my time right.
Yeah. No, I love that. And then, so what advice would you give to anybody right now who's watching the show, our insiders who, they hear what you're saying, they, believe what you're saying, but they're like, man, like I need, like times are rough. This, there's a recession or there's bad economic times, like, and they're trying. They got one foot in, one foot out. They're trying to figure it out. What advice would you give for that struggling person who's trying to figure it out?
So I would say, believe you deserve more,
Yeah.
and want more, and fix your credit to get access to funding. Because even though we're in a recession, but banks are still lending out money, but to people with good credit, right? And invest in yourself. Yeah. If you can't afford a mentor, or if you're not sure who you can trust, because I hear they say people scam and stuff like that. Yeah. Go down the person page, book a call with them and see if they trustworthy. Really see what they doing. Yeah. And just know that your current situation isn't your final destination.
Yeah. No, I love that. And then, what would you say is the biggest money mistake that you've made so far in your career?
Living ghetto fabulous.
Yeah. What does that mean? Talk to me.
So between 2008 and 2017, just blowing money, vacation, clothes. I'm at the post office with a Rolex. You know what I'm saying? When I could have took that money and invested in properties, right? True. When those properties were so cheap between that time. Mm-hmm. So I would say my biggest mistake was buying material things when I didn't really have a savings, right? And think about when my mom passed, 2012, my mom passed. And was working at the post office, had a tax business making money, and I didn't have any money to get to New York for her funeral.
Wow.
Right, and thank God my husband sold a car that day so we can get to New York.
Wow.
And after I came back, I said, Dana, it's time to stop playing, pay down your credit cards, and save money so that you always have a backup plan.
Wow. What would you say is the most extravagant thing you've done with money so far?
Bought the Lamborghini.
Okay, I saw that Lambo. That Lambo nice though too, and it's a Urus though too, so I can fit it. So you might let me borrow that one day. What would you say is the most impactful thing you've done with money so far?
The most impactful thing I've done with money? I don't know, but I think the most impactful thing that I have done, and it kind of equates to money, is letting people into my mentorship that couldn't afford it to help them change their life.
Yeah. And I love that though too, right? Because like from an education perspective, a lot of times people, if you give somebody money or if you buy somebody something, that's a temporary thing, right? You're giving them a fish, but like letting somebody get this free game, right? Or that game that's not free, but to get it to change their life, like that's, huge. What's next for Dana Christian?
Really, I'm on the downhill. To, as far as like, I definitely want more rental properties. I don't really have a number, but by the time I'm 55, I really just want to really be slowing it down and really enjoy life and enjoy my grandkids.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. All right, y'all. Dana Christian is in the building. Again, if y'all want to tap into her mentorship program, make sure you go to InsidePassiveIncome.com. All the information is there where you can learn how to access business funding. Because it's not really just about accessing the business funding, right? Because, again, you can access the business funding, but if you live that ghetto fabulous life.
Yeah, it's really about building wealth.
Yeah.
It's really about building wealth and learning how to invest in real estate.
Yeah. So now access the funds, but then get the mentorship, right? So here's what I'm gonna tell you. Don't listen to this episode and now because she gave you the play on how to access business funding, you access business funding, you worked hard to get your credit right, you are doing the right thing, you access this business funding, now you have this money, and then you do something stupid that's not using that money, right, to gain passive income.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Because that's what the game is about. That's how you build wealth.
Yeah, because I always say everybody's goal is really passive income. If you think about it, you work a job for 30 years to retire for what? To receive Social Security and retirement.
That's good.
That's passive income, right? But you don't have to wait 30 years, right? Once you learn how to invest in real estate.
Yeah. So don't wait, right? You don't gotta wait 30 years, 40 years to get that pension. You can start getting that passive income right now. InsidePassiveIncome.com. Make sure y'all tap in with Ms. Dana Christian. Any last words for our insiders?
Believe in yourself and work hard and know you deserve more.
All right, y'all. We are closing out the vault. If somebody wanted to connect with you, where can they find you?
On IG, I am Dana Christian.
All right, y'all. I am Dana Christian. Make sure you tap in with her. I am Ash Cash. Make sure you visit me. IamAshCash.com. Follow me on all social media platforms at I am Ash Cash. Follow the show, right? Inside the Vault, at Inside the Vault on all social media platforms. Our website is InsideTheVaultShow.com. I need you to like. I need you to subscribe. I need you to review. I need you to rate it. I need you to share this with everybody. We need this show to be the #1 show in any category because what? Inside the Vault is the greatest money mindset show on the planet. All right, y'all. I'm closing out the vault. I'll see y'all next time, same place, in God's will. All right, y'all. Peace.